can open the front door or an elevator door or whatever, and he won't go out the door unless he's told he's allowed to. And that's just something I've trained him with. It's so cool that dogs like can remember. Like, you've seen those videos of dogs, like they can go to the edge of their property line with no fence, but they know not to go further. Yeah. I just think that's so cool. And like, that's obviously with what that dog has been taught. You don't leave the trunk unless you've been told by your actual handler to leave the trunk. I just think that's so cool. Yeah. Dogs are awesome.
My dog would have jumped out in a heartbeat. For a second, I was like, is this safe? Is this allowed? But the dog was having a hell of a time, so good for it.
To be clear, my dog would also jump out because I don't have a truck. I haven't taught him the threshold. Well, he knows not to jump out of the car if I open the door, but I don't know about trunk. If I had the trunk, if he was open, I don't know. If he saw a bird or something, he might be gone. Anyways, we got a lot to get to today. Let's pull up the lines here, Grady. Tocchet's line blender coming out big time ahead of the Canucks matchup with the Seattle Kraken tonight. You might be listening to this on Friday afternoon. You might be listening to it on Saturday, Sunday. So we're going to try not to date ourselves too much here. But the big news of the day in my mind, other than Andrei Kuzmenko being a healthy scratch, which we'll get to, Sam Lafferty up to the first line alongside Elias Pettersson, Ilya Mikheyev. Some other notable lineup changes is Frid-USA goes down to the fourth line alongside Nils Aman and Nils Höglander, while Anthony Beauvillier gets the promotion to the PB&J line. Can you still call it that? No, you can't. BBM? What's that? MBB? Am I cooking?
No, you're not.
Okay, the lines.
I'm about to Gordon Ramsay.
The lines. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so right off the bat, Lafferty getting the promotion, you can understand it from Tocchet's perspective in the sense that he thinks that line is playing too slow and too methodically. Lafferty is the exact opposite of that with the speed, how direct he is, the way he takes the puck to the net. He's sort of the opposite of what Andrei Kuzmenko is, in that he brings a lot of those physical attributes, but he lacks a lot of offensive skill, right? So I think Tocchet's probably hoping that Lafferty can be a sort of spark for that line. Pettersson's now got two big speedsters on his wing. Hopefully that can help the line even just play on the inside more. That line's been stuck on the perimeter. They've been trying to get a little too cute. And sometimes you just need to, as Tocchet would say, play a north-south style. That said, I would have liked to see Höglander get a shot there because he's been a spark plug for that fourth line. And he gives you that blend, I feel, of speed and skill, which with Lafferty, yeah, he's faster than Höglander. He's bigger. He's going to play on the inside a little bit more, but he's also less skilled offensively than Höglander is.
I'm going to give you a prediction, Harm, based on vibes. Sam Lafferty starts the game with Elias Pettersson, obviously, but to your point, I think we see at least half the 5-on-5 ice time tonight against Seattle Kraken, if not tomorrow, because let's not forget it's a back-to-back. At least half the 5-on-5 ice time with Elias Pettersson will be spent with Nils Höglander tonight. That's my prediction of the night. Because I think it's going to be a short leash for Sam Lafferty. It's almost going to be like, okay, this line needs to get going. They need to start penetrating to the inside, and that's something Tocchet spoke about. We'll get to that soon as well. There's so much to get to today. But if you want that line to start playing that north-south style, you look at that lineup. Who's the most north-south player in the lineup aside from Dakota Joshua, who you don't want to take off the line he's currently on, and aside from maybe Frid-USA, who we can all agree, I think, doesn't belong in the top 6 at this point in time. I think it's Sam Lafferty. Like, how many times have we seen Sam Lafferty drive hard to the net up on the rush? Like, that's something this Pettersson line can absolutely use, because once Lafferty gets there, if the puck's loose in front and you have Elias Pettersson and you have Ilya Mikheyev going to the net, like, you're going to get to the inside if you have Sam Lafferty on that line. At least that's the thought process from Rick Tocchet. But if it doesn't work out, I do think it's going to be a short leash, and you're going to see Nils Höglander, especially if he's going like he has been in the last couple games. I think you're going to see Nils Höglander get promoted to that line, at least at some point during the game. Maybe half 5-on-5 ice time is a bit much of a prediction, but I still think Nils Höglander gets at least a shot there tonight.
It's also interesting that before he was traded to Vancouver at training camp this year, he actually opened Leafs' camp on John Tavares' line in the top 6. He got a shot there, presumably, again, because Tavares isn't the most fleet of foot. So you're thinking continue to add a little bit more speed there, have him be a complementary piece that can win pucks back, forecheck, be a nuisance around the net. The experiment didn't last very long. I don't think it was a particularly great fit, but it was a legit chance. It wasn't one of those. It wasn't one of those situations where you open training camp with a weird combo and you're like, okay, yeah, that's not actually going to stick. That was a legit shot Sheldon Keefe wanted to give Lafferty. So I am curious to see how it'll go. But as you alluded to, I hope it is with a short leash.
I almost wonder if Anthony Beauvillier might get a shot. Karan in the YouTube live chat pointed that out, that maybe it's Anthony Beauvillier who gets a shot at some point with Elias Pettersson. I think at its core, changing up the lines is almost long overdue. The only line that remains completely unchanged is the one that we've been talking about, is the only one that's going right now, and that's the Dakota Joshua, Teddy Bluger, and Conor Garland trio. That line has been going. You spoke about yesterday the importance of not splitting up that line, and Tocchet obviously heard you because he changes up every line except for that one. I think that's the right call.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like you need something different to get this team going right now. Especially, it feels like the team's forechecking isn't quite the same, and I don't know how much of that is maybe a product of, okay, the blue line, from the blue line, you're not moving and transitioning the puck fast enough to the red line, and how does that impact your ability to get the forecheck established? But to move some pieces around, I think it's to give guys a different opportunity, create some internal competition, create excitement, because look, sometimes if you end up playing with the same guys all the time, you can sort of get set in your ways a little bit. And I don't know if complacent is the right word, but it sort of starts to feel a little bit stale. And this team has to, in my opinion, try something a little bit different, because there hasn't been enough 5-on-5 offense generated right now. And this is where, again, I hope that out of whatever shuffling happens, that Höglander gets more minutes, because to me, he's been one of the team's more effective, even strength offensive drivers. And the club has otherwise looked a bit flat generating chances. Höglander's been the type of forward who can carry the puck into the zone, put defenders on his heels, and sort of create off the rush, but also he's doing what the other team's forward, or what the rest of the forwards aren't doing enough of right now, which is he's consistently been fighting away from the puck, sort of in the slot, high traffic area. Again, we've mentioned this before. A lot of his goals have come from tips, deflections, in and around the net. Mm-hmm. It feels like recently the Canucks haven't had enough of that. Even when they get offensive zone time established, they're on the perimeter and they're not able to a lot of times translate it into grade A opportunities.
P.S. Suter placed on IR, Carson Soucy on LTIR. Nils Aman and Cole McWard are the corresponding move. Those guys called up from the Abbotsford Canucks, who are in Calgary right now. Nils Aman gets into the lineup tonight. Cole McWard cycled in with Juleson at morning skate. I think Ian McIntyre was the one that tweeted that, but it doesn't look like McWard's getting into the lineup. It will be Noah Juleson skating alongside Ian Cole tonight. I wonder, with a back-to-back, Harman, if you give Cole McWard a look tomorrow night. Because, look, while it might just be a precautionary thing, and that's why a guy like maybe Christian Wolanin didn't get called up, and it's a younger guy who doesn't require waivers to go back down, at the same time, you can't help but wonder against a team like San Jose, if they give McWard a shot and say, hey, like, you played training camp preseason with Quinn Hughes, what does it look like against a team like San Jose? Like, can you start to build something there and start to move away from the Hronek-Hughes pairing? I don't know. Like, I'm wondering if it had anything to do with that. I think in all likelihood, it's probably just the precautionary thing to have an extra body when you're playing back-to-back games. I don't know. Like, do you have any thoughts about Cole McWard getting into the lineup potentially? Because Juleson's in tonight.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with Juleson tonight, his performance, because I thought his performance against the Avs the other night was one of his better games. Of course, the big sort of caveat was the mistake he made not covering Drouin on that net front goal. But he was at least transitioning the puck sort of cleaner. He was making more decisive decisions, and that's been the biggest problem for him this season. So if that's an avenue he can sort of clean up, then all of a sudden he is at least more competent. So that's that's what I want to see tonight is, okay, do we get a continuation of that improved puck moving from Juleson? Does he actually start to calm his game down the way Tyler Myers has over the last 10, 15 games or so?
One of our best players, Rick Tocchet.
But otherwise, if Juleson struggles again, if you start to see some of those same turnovers, some of those same boneheaded decisions, even defensively, poor positioning, then it's like, okay, McWard deserves a shot.
At least a look, right? At least a look, especially when you've got a team like San Jose. And not to take San Jose too lightly, but, you're starting Casey DeSmith tomorrow. Thatcher Demko looks like the starter tonight. Kind of what I expected when we were asked about it in Anyone Else yesterday. Kind of thought Thatcher Demko would get the call tonight. He does. Canucks are in Seattle. Final thing before we get to our Light the Lamp contest. IMAC tweeted out that Filip Hronek is rotating in on PP1 in Andrei Kuzmenko's absence, as we expected. And I know neither of us, we've had this conversation before, neither of us really like the idea of two defensemen on power play one, but just with how dynamic Filip Hronek is, especially when he's playing with Quinn Hughes, I personally feel like it's not that bad of an idea. Like, it's probably your best bet, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, power play 2 has no shooting threats that you look at and go, oh, I really want that forward on power play 1 instead. The key, as you alluded to, is Hughes and Hronek seem to have an incredible chemistry with the way they switch off of each other. The movement at 5-on-5 alone, now you're putting them in a situation where the other team is down a man, and I feel like it'll open up a lot of possibilities, as so long as you aren't just spamming Hronek shots from distance. I know that's how he scored on the 5-on-3, but generally speaking, I want him to be a little bit selective with the shooting. Obviously, look, if let's hit the left circle and he gets teed up for a one-timer, take that bomb. But that's going to be the balance that they're going to need to strike. Is, yes, Hronek's shot is an absolute weapon, but I'd also like to see him do a little bit of what he's done at 5-on-5, which is use the threat of his shot to open up passing lanes, especially for Hughes. That's how I think Hronek could have a positive impact on the power play 1 group.
Okay, let's get to our Light the Lamp contest, brought to you by our friends over at Four Winds Brewing. Vancouver is playing Seattle tonight, and we want to know who's going to score the first goal for Vancouver. If you nail it, you could win a $25 gift card to the Four Winds Tap Room, located at 72nd and River Road in Delta. Enter by following us on social media. Keep an eye out for today's show clip and comment who you think will light the lamp and score the first goal tonight. Winners will be contacted directly. Check us out at Canucks Army or at Canucks Convo on Twitter, at CanucksArmy.com on Instagram, and Canucks Army on Facebook. And make sure you ask about the Four Winds Light Lager at your local liquor store, or have some delivered to your front door through the online shop at fourwindsbrewing.ca. Here's my pick. Sam Lafferty on a backdoor tap-in set up by Elias Pettersson, because he gets to the middle of the ice. He's almost in the blue paint in this goal, Harman, just so you know this is what's going to happen. He's almost in the blue paint on this goal, and he's on his forehand as a right-handed shot, and he's setting up, and he's going to backdoor tap in after a beautiful cross-ice feed from Elias Pettersson.
I like it. It's funny. I was actually thinking of picking one of Lafferty or Pettersson too. I'll go with Pettersson then.
All right. Pettersson it is. All right, let's get to Wyatt Arndt. No football quiz. I'm very sorry, folks. I really wanted a football quiz today. Wyatt Arndt is brought to you by his own merch, available now at nationgear.ca. Unleash the darkness with the Nation Gear Blackout Collection. Embrace the bold and gear up with all new styles of our exclusive Stanchies Reader line, only available for a limited time. Don't miss out on grabbing your favorite team's gear in the baddest styles before they're gone. Get the perfect gift for your favorite fan. Order before December 10th so you can put your presents under the tree. Plus, if you spend $200, you qualify for free shipping. Go check it out at nationgear.ca. Let's bring him in. Wyatt Arndt, like I said. Oh.
That feels right. That feels right.
That's spectacular. Okay, turn it down, Grady.
No, crank it up. Crank it up.
I like that.
That was fire.
That what? Grady, did you
right?
make that?
No, that's from Artlist. I supplied that one. That's royalty free. You'll not get sued. I own the rights to that.
That was my next question.
I will
Wyatt,
say, I was dressed up for the football quiz, and that is not happening. What? I know Cole McCord's a big story, but I just feel like we still could have done the football quiz. It's upsetting.
You had to call an audible.
Josh Allen. That's who that is.
There you go. Well done.
That's right. All right. I'm done. I have nothing else. I just wanted to make sure I got the jersey right. No, I'm just kidding. Wyatt, what's it like having your own clothing line?
Honestly, I didn't hear a single word about that. So also when it came out, it's like, oh my goodness, that was kind of a nice surprise. I will say,
yeah, same here.
Yeah, Nation takes care of me. I'm not trying to attack my previous employers. The Nation takes care of me really nicely here. It's nice to be kind of given a bit of that riz, as the kids say. It's nice. And I do have to say though, I did enjoy the dog story earlier from Harman. I really did. You saw a big dog in the truck. It was very exciting.
Okay. I don't think you used Riz.
I did not on purpose. I did that on purpose.
Get me some of that Riz the kids are talking about.
That was the joke.
Anyway, Wyatt, going from happy vibes to some sadder vibes, how do you feel about Rick Tocchet's decision to scratch Andrei Kuzmenko?
Oh man, that hurt my Riz. I didn't like that. I gotta say, what, boys? I don't understand. Okay, I will say that honestly, it feels like it's a old school wake up call, right? I think he wants to get. To me, that shows he believes in Kuzmenko, like he's worth working with. He wants to kind of get more out of him. He thinks there's more there, and I do agree that overall, I think the team is doing a bit less of what was, successful for them early on, which is like getting in the lanes, getting back, clogging up the shooting lanes, and kind of being active with their sticks. And that's never really been a huge part of Kuzmenko's game. But I will say, like offensively, like he's winning board battles. He's doing a lot on the offensive zone. But I think defensively, that's where Rick's going to be a bit frustrated at times. And he's not really on a man. Sometimes he's kind of in dead space on the ice. So I do think it's a wake-up call. I don't necessarily agree with scratching him, but Rick Tocchet with the start he's had, you're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, what do I know? So I'm going to trust in Rick Tocchet's Riz on this and go with him, and we'll see what happens. One of these days, I'm going to get it right. I use it every kind of way I can.
Use it in every sentence, yes. Every answer, slip it in at one point.
One of these, we'll get it. And Grady's going to use that clip only to promote this.
All right. This quote from Elias Pettersson, Wyatt, I'm not sure if you've seen it. This was tweeted out by TSN's Farhan Lalji. He said, "I know you guys are fishing. I heard guys are speculating, but no, I feel good." He was asked that he answered with that when he was asked about the reports that he's playing banged up. We've seen stuff from Patrick Johnson. We've seen stuff from Rick Dollywall talking about a potential injury here. Elias Pettersson says he's all fine. Your thoughts on that?
He's a liar. He's a dirty liar. I just don't believe. I mean, yeah, could he not be hurt? I'm sure everyone. That's always the kind of thing after the playoffs. We're all banged up. That's the old school hockey way to say it. But is his play that is a bit of regression? Is it just the ups and downs of his season? This is a guy that won't admit to an injury. Also, I don't know if it behooves him to do that. If he's like, yeah, my wrist is really bothering me, like you don't want to put a bullseye on that wrist. So I just think, face value, I can't take it that way. So I do think he is hurting. And that, kind of goes to the Kuzmenko thing, because Andrei Kuzmenko is a tremendous passenger player. He's really good at it. And it kind of reminds me like back in the day when the Sedins played with Verbata. Verbata is a tremendous passenger player. Cannot drive a line. Kuzmenko is showing I don't think he can drive a line. We haven't seen that yet, at least. So if Pettersson is struggling, then yeah, it's not shocking that Kuzmenko is struggling. Even that being said, I don't think we're seeing the same Kuzmenko we saw last season. I feel like he's trying to set up, Mikheyev a lot. He's trying to be more of a playmaker. We all knew regression was coming. I do want to say it's kind of funny that even though everyone knew the regression was coming, people are like, well, we knew he was going to regress, but this is worse than I thought. Like, no, like last year was a white unicorn. That really was for Kuzmenko. So I do think he was always going to be a bit of a work in progress for the team. So, in regards to Pettersson, when he doesn't play well, yeah, that line's not going to look as good. And we've heard Tocchet say they're a bit too methodical. So we'll see if Lafferty kind of shakes him up. I do want to say that, the Beauvillier thing, I don't know if I want to see that again. Beauvillier thinks he's been playing well. He's been playing fine, I think, but I don't think we saw it last season. It didn't really excite me too much. I don't know if that's going to do a lot, but we'll see. I'm actually weirdly excited about Lafferty. I don't know. I like his north-south game. I think that guy's like the poster child for Rick Tocchet hockey, to be honest.
One of the other areas the Canucks are going to have to adjust without Kuzmenko in the lineup is the power play. Sounds like Hronek will get the first unit look there in his spot. How do you think the power play will adjust with Hronek rather than Kuzmenko.
I mean, if you can get more of those switch and baits with Hughes and Hronek, that's nothing but good. Like I think he'll fit in seamlessly. That kind of reminds me of the Ehrhoff principle. Like he just found a way to connect and move the puck, and that was the cycle game they could do so well. So yeah, I don't see that being a huge issue. I think he'll kind of fit right into what they're doing. Will it create more urgency in their shots? I don't know. Like I don't know if they're frustrated with their power play. Do they want to create more shots? Because it can look dynamic. It can look so exciting. But yeah, sometimes they don't necessarily take the shots as much at the high volume as they want. So we'll see. But honestly, if you're going to replace Kuzmenko with anyone like Arndt, how can you go wrong with that? Him and Quinn Hughes, their chemistry keeps getting better and better.
Wyatt, I want one football question before we let you go. We're not going to do that yet, but I'm telling you now so that you can start to think about it. I did want to mention for all the people that saw the Stanchies Reader merch, we're going to have more Stanchies Reader, hopefully, because now people can actually read it because we seem to have found a fix for it crashing all the time on everybody's phones. So hopefully it works. And you're
Bad
right.
Riz.
Yeah. Oh, well, that is bad.
That's the worst Riz. That Riz gets me so mad. Like I get rizzed up when that happens, boys. It's just
I get riz. No. You don't get rizzed up.
Not?
No.
I'm pretty
You're
sure
writing
you
the
do.
Stanchies tonight, right?
Yeah. I mean, you should know.
I should know, but I get messages like an hour before being like, "Hey, by the way, this person's writing them." Okay, whatever. Anyway,
I wrote the Stanchies. I got it. Yeah, I got it tonight.
Okay.
Cody's tomorrow. I'm tonight.
I'm going to hit Control F and type in Riz and just delete.
No. I'm gonna use it at least 3 times. It's a promise.
At least 3 per paragraph, I'm sure. Wyatt, last hockey question before we get to one football question from you to us. When it comes to Cole McWard, like he was part of the call-ups, do you want to see him get a look? That was the conversation we were having right before you came on.
Like honestly, like for the memes alone, because he looks like a detective, I want it for my brand. So that's very selfish of me. I really do. But I'm all for it, honestly. Like this point, the defense is definitely a work in progress. There's no one on that bottom pairing that I think like, you've got to keep in. Like no one's saying to themselves like, man, this team can't afford to have Noah Jolson not in the lineup. Like there's no one there that's like grabbing that spot. So honestly, I'm a bit of a Wolanin truther. I kind of want to see what he might be able to do because I just kind of like his puck movement. But with Cole McWard at this point, Rick Tocchet seems to be open to kind of seeing what kind of team he's got right now. So, I'm all for it. I want to see it.
Someone in the chat, I don't know if they're calling you the Wizard of Oz.
I'm the Wizard of Oz. They get it. The Wizard of Oz. Like they get it.
We're going to lose so many listeners. Many listeners.
This is the rizziest episode we've done. I'm very excited about it.
Well, it's definitely that. Wyatt, we were right before we went on air. There was a football on, and
oh god,
I was trying to guess which teams it was, and then I realized it's college football.
There's a game on. There's NFL.
A brawl?
I was trying not to get distracted because TV's on in the background. But while we were speaking, there's a massive brawl.
What?
Yeah.
No, not my Kansas City University.
I don't think.
Isn't that the team? Oh
no.
All right. Okay, no. Wyatt, give us a football question before. And folks should know we're doing the football quiz next week. We had it all ready to go. Then too much happened. We still haven't even really dove into what Elias Pettersson said, all that sort of stuff. We'll get to it in our anyone else section. But Wyatt, give us a football question just to tease the quiz that we're hoping to do next week.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, like, what happens if the quarterback's got the ball, he runs into his own end zone, he gets tackled? What do they call that?
It happened to me in Madden, and I was so mad. It is called no. Wait, is it called no safety? And you the other team gets points.
How many points?
1?
No. 3 points. No, 2 points.
There you go.
That's right.
All right.
My Madden knowledge. It happened to me once, and you know what actually happened, Wyatt? Okay, snap the ball. I'm on like the 3-yard line. Okay, in my own end. A second down or whatever, snap the ball. I go back. I don't like any of the options. So I try to rush, and then I was about to get smoked, and I didn't want my quarterback to get hurt. So I slid. I hit the ground. Like I double tapped square and took a knee basically. And the safety pops up, and you lose the ball too. Anyways.
I've honestly never seen a more jacked in my life explaining his Madden story.
I lost that question, but you're at break even now because you called Arkansas Kansas City University.
Oh no.
I can't see, half the screen's blocked off by the light. Anyways, why isn't it Arkansas? We don't know. Anyways, Wyatt, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Yeah, the Wizard of Oz has to go, boys. See you later.
What are we doing? Okay, that was Wyatt Arndt, brought to you, like we said, by the Blackout Collection over at nationgear.com. Okay, boys, let's get it back on the rails here. Let's get to anyone else because I've got a few anyone else's. Yeah, go on.
We didn't really talk about Kuzmenko.
I want to talk about it in anyone else.
Got it.
Yeah,
cool.
Okay, so anyone else, brought to you by our friends over at DoorDash. It's our listeners' chance to get involved and hit us up in the YouTube live chat. It's also our listeners' chance to get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more. That's right. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when they download the DoorDash app and enter code NATION25. That's all capital letters, NATION, and the numbers 25. Offer valid in Canada, subject to change. Terms do apply. Subject to change. Andrei Kuzmenko's game from last season to this season, tonight, he's a healthy scratch. I don't think it comes as much of a surprise, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, and I think the breaking point was likely the third period shift where Tufte scored. What you'll notice is before that sort of net front scramble from the point shot, Kuzmenko was the one supposed to be covering Miles Wood at the point. And what you'll notice when you watch that goal back is it seemed like Kuzmenko was almost cheating for offense a little bit because he was at the blue line, but rather than covering that left point, he was in the middle of the ice inexplicably. And so that gave Wood all the time and space necessary to get that point shot through. Whereas if Kuzmenko is just in the right spot, that shooting lane is not available. It's not even about making a spectacular defensive play. It's just, are you in the right spot? And that's a basic, straightforward play. It's not it's not like he had to do anything miraculous defensively there. It's just, are you literally standing in the right spot? And he wasn't really close. It seemed like, because before that, the puck was sort of had been rimmed around and it looked like there was, a loose puck race, and it felt like Kuzmenko was almost anticipating in the middle to be a pop pass option rather than playing it safe and covering Wood at the point.
That's an interesting observation because that's one thing that is in the non-negotiables from Rick Tocchet. He's spoken about that since he got hired here in Vancouver as his non-negotiables. And as we've seen, even with players like JT Miller, who have been good this season, that the rules apply to everybody. And I saw some people when this was on Twitter, it was announced that Kuzmenko was going to be a healthy scratch tonight. I saw some people really having an issue that it was Kuzmenko and, people are calling him the whipping boy. I think it's completely justified. Like, I think it's fair. And people are saying, well, what about Elias Pettersson? What about Tyler Myers? First of all, we've spoken about it. Tyler Myers, Rick Tocchet keeps calling him their best player or one of their best players. I don't know. I think it's completely justified. I made the comment after the Colorado game that it just looks like offense is dying as soon as it gets to Kuzmenko's stick. Said it looks like he's using Jay Beagle's old sticks. I don't know how that happened, but that's what it looks like right now.
Well, the thing with Kuzmenko is if he's not driving offense, what else is he doing?
Exactly.
And right now he's simply put not driving offense, whereas other forwards on the team, some of them are centermen, so they play a premium position. If they're wingers, they're at least responsible defensively. They can get in on the forecheck. They add some speed, maybe. They kill penalties. They add physicality. With Kuzmenko, there is nothing that he adds besides his offense, which is fine. Every team has one-dimensional offensive players, and the type of game-breaking skill set Kuzmenko has when he's at his best is really unique, really rare, and that's why you want to work with him so that you can harness it the right way, get it back on the rails. But when he's struggling as much as he is right now, I think the other tipping point is this would probably be different if Pettersson himself was going and that line was still successful with, if Pettersson and Mikheyev were still able to sort of drive offense and have success, but you've got two struggling players on that line. Your two main offensive drivers. So something has to give. You can't just keep rolling those guys out there at even strength. And have them continuing to play the way they have recently. Something had to give, and it wasn't going to be scratching Elias Pettersson.
Lots of interaction in the YouTube live chat, so I want to get to as many as we can. Do you have anything on Kuzmenko before we shift away from that?
You can go to the live chat.
We've got a few here. Dr. Haas. Oh, I swear I've seen his name in our chat before. I thought he was a regular listener. But anyways, he says, these guys seem like they're both on, and he named a drug. And then he said, the white guy is definitely on something. And I responded and I said, a Gatorade Blue and espresso every day. Not a Gatorade Blue, but I have an espresso every morning. And Faber knows this. And longtime listeners of this show know it. the later in the morning that I have my espresso, like today, I had my espresso at like 11:30. I'm going by the time the show gets going, as you can see today. So new listener to the show, Dr. Haas, who enjoyed my response, I think. So many people in the chat here. This one from Marcus Toe. What does Power Play 2 look like? Myers as the lone defenseman?
Oh man, I do not want Power Play 2 to see
Ian Cole, get Ian Cole out.
Well, the problem now is you remove Hronek, who's the you have literally no shooting threat. You have no
Connor
good finisher. Hoglander, first of all, needs to get on that unit.
Oh, for sure. Well, he would, you'd assume.
I mean, he has to, right?
Yeah, like I'm like, who can they?
Because
Sam Lafferty.
I mean, even with Hoglander in,
Yeah.
I mean, Hoglander, Bluger, Mikheyev, Beauvillier, and whether it's Myers, all of them are below average shooters. So I feel like the way that if Power Play 2 sees the ice, if they are manufacturing offense, it's probably going to be sort of get as many pucks to the net, crash and hope there are rebounds and do it that way, because I certainly don't expect there to be set plays where you're setting guys up for one-timers and you're effectively shooting, picking your spot from the tops of the circles. I think it's going to have to be a lot of getting a lot of traffic in front, tips, deflections, just playing a really direct style.
Another one in the chat here, and I want to give my take on this one. The Vegas and Seattle jersey. Have you seen the Winter Classic jerseys?
I haven't.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, Seattle's, oh, there it is. Grady pulled it up on our show there. Seattle's looks phenomenal to me. I think it's one of the nicest jerseys I've seen for a Winter Classic. My all-time favorite is the baby blue Pittsburgh Penguins one that they wore. I think it was the 2010 or 2011 Winter Classic between them and the Capitals. That one is my all-time favorite. And I legitimately think this Seattle Kraken one that they've gone to might be second, might even bump out the Penguins one for first. I think the Vegas one looks atrocious. I think that looks like your Eschel team in NHL 24 is just starting out and you only have the letters unlocked. I think that looks horrible. I hate that jersey.
I actually like the color scheme. The logo's bland though.
Yeah. Question for you guys. What color is the lettering and the V in the logo? I got into a debate in studio yesterday about what color it is.
That's like navy, right?
Yeah. Matt Sakaris and Blake Price both thought it was black.
No.
And then you know what it was? It was, we got into that whole remember the dress color from like a decade ago? Yeah, how your eyes see different colors. I was blown away that these guys thought that was black. Now, it's not the best photo, I should point out, but if you look online, tell me how that is black.
It's blue.
Exactly.
But why is it blue? There's the question that we should be asking.
Why is there blue in exactly?
Why is it blue?
I actually think the color scheme they have is sharp.
Why is it blue, Harman? You don't know. Why is it blue?
Such an historic franchise with all these different color patterns in there. Oh, wait, they've only existed since
like is blue the color of Vegas? Because Seattle's got their, emerald, teal, whatever you want to call it. Seattle at least pays some homage to the city of Seattle. What about blue Vegas? Like, am I missing something here?
Who cares? It's just blue's the most basic color ever. It doesn't
so if the Canucks come out they get in the Winter Classic next year because they're away again, and they say, hey, we've got purple jerseys. Everybody's saying, why is it purple? Why is it purple? Harman Dial on this show is going to be like, oh, who cares?
Purple is not the same as blue.
I digress.
And it's just a small, the jersey cream gold and has blue, essentially blue, a little bit of blue just for the jersey numbers, the nameplates, and the logo there.
Dr. Haas again, who, by the way, Dr. Haas came in and I think we won the guy over because he said, obviously talking about me here, he said, bro, this guy's hilarious. And then he had another contribution. He said, can we just trade away Tyler Myers already? Shaking my head.
They need
anything for him. They need him right now. Like that's, and while I would agree, especially earlier in the season, like I was on this show calling for him to be sent down to the AHL.
Oh, wait, you did that?
Oh, yeah. Guys, the start of the season, I was saying, how could anything in the AHL be worse than what you're getting from Tyler Myers right now? Do you not remember how bad Myers was to start the year? I'm happy that he turned it around, but I was saying if this continues, anyways, we're not going to.
Was he that bad, or was it just the really loud mistakes? Like
it was a combination of both, I think, but the loud mistakes were costing them. I think I said it right after the Tampa Bay game.
Nobody in
when he
Abbotsford
crushed
would have been
Petey.
better though. He was terrible, but
Faber
nobody.
thought Jet Wu would be better.
No,
Oh.
did anybody see Jet Wu in that one preseason game against Calgary?
Yeah, he was awful.
I don't think he had been hired by the Canucks, but Faber said that Jet Wu would be better at that point. Okay, there's so many here. Mother Knucker, another one. With our dire need for a top 4 D-man, should we consider trading Besser while his value is at its highest, or even Kuzmenko, who plenty of teams would covet at term and cap hit? Hockey trade, of course.
No, they wouldn't.
No, they wouldn't, as in teams wouldn't covet them?
No, and teams value top 4 defensemen over wingers, especially ones that are not stars and are pretty one-dimensional. You're not getting a top 4 defenseman unless it's for the type of defenseman that you probably don't like his contract or his age. I mean, how many years did we spend talking about the idea of trading Besser for a top 4 defenseman until we realized last season that, it's practically impossible to get this contract off the books. Now, he's gotten off to a terrific start. Obviously, his trade value has increased, but I don't think you're getting a top 4 defenseman back. What top 4 defenseman with term who fits in the right range age-wise is going to be available that a team's just going to want to give up for a winger?
We should have this as its own sub-segment of anyone else, because it's our Canucks conversation, anyone else, heater trade proposal of the day. Because here it is from Trip: Besser and Beauvillier for Andrew Peeke and Patrick Laine. Who says no? Answer the question, Harman.
Okay, sorry, say that again.
Brock Besser and Anthony Beauvillier for Andrew Peeke and Patrick Laine out of Columbus. Who says no?
I don't like that trade actually from Vancouver's perspective, because Laine, I want to look up what his contract is, but I don't like Laine's contract.
2 years at 8.7.
People pointing out in the chat, the immediate response to that is that Laine isn't going to be a good fit with Rick Tocchet. Don't think that's a hot take.
Yeah, and he's got, 4 points in 11 games. Laine was healthy scratch recently. He's a one-dimensional player, and you've got, I don't think this team needs more of those types of wingers, especially because when Laine is going at his best, a huge chunk of his value derives from the power play. Canucks don't need another elite power play weapon, especially because Besser's been that perfect fit on PP1 in the sort of bumper and net front area.
We had a question from Jesse about that. I'm just trying to find it here. Excuse me. Said something along, I don't know why I can't find it. Grady gets them in the chat here, but he said basically since Bo Horvat's been gone, has that affected, it was Andrei Kuzmenko actually, Andrei Kuzmenko's time on the power play, like in the slot area? Has that hurt Andrei Kuzmenko on the power play? Because obviously they're not going for the bumper play as much, right?
Yeah. So it was interesting. I think last season, a couple of Kuzmenko's power play backdoor tap-ins, I vividly remember that teams were collapsing on Horvat in the middle because they viewed him as the most dangerous offensive threat the Canucks had on PP1. Yep. And as a result, they would cheat a little bit, and Kuzmenko would be open on the back door. So that play is gone, but I don't think it's necessarily tethered to Bo's gone, and that's why Kuzmenko's struggling to produce. It just feels like, there's nothing to complain about with the first unit power play for the most part this season. It doesn't, in my mind, it doesn't matter who gets the points. It doesn't matter who really gets the goals, so long as the unit as a whole is having success.
But also it matters that Quinn Hughes is leading the league in points for Dom-related reasons.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But
your point stands. Your point is valid. Not to, poke fun at it.
And at least right. Kuzmenko has the IQ on the power play to understand the movement patterns, to know where he should be positioned. He hasn't been making mistakes on the power play in terms of giveaways. He's bought in terms of the puck recovery aspect. He's clearly been the least important player on PP1, but he's still done his job fine. For me, it's 5-on-5 where I want to see him driving more offense.
Okay, a couple more from the chat here, and then I got one that I just want to get off my chest here. Sam Ross said, "Is it time to take another look at Nikita Zadorov?" I feel like the conversation hasn't changed since we last had it. That no, it's not yet. Like it's not yet time. The conversation you and I had when we were asked about this last week, Harman, was just that use this as an opportunity to see what you have in multiple players in your depth. And I think that extends to a guy like Cole McWard, who they called up. Like, give him a shot, especially against San Jose tomorrow. I would love to see McWard get in the lineup tomorrow. Just see where he's at. See what you've got. I know San Jose isn't the best litmus test to see where a guy is at the NHL level, but you can still learn things from playing a guy, you know, whether it be with Quinn Hughes, whether it be with Ian Cole, whoever it's with. You can still learn something about a player if you give him that shot in the NHL. So I would say no, still not time. Keep giving him shots. Keep giving your depth chances to get into the lineup. I know that's not the best strategy, maybe if you're on a bit of a losing skid, but with a team like San Jose, you kind of hope that they're able to use it to their advantage.
And I don't think Vancouver is going to pay, semi-premium assets to Calgary for a rental. It's
the same conversation as last week. Calgary's not making that trade unless they're winning it by a mile. So why are you making that trade if you're Vancouver?
If they're able to get an extension done beforehand, Calgary allows Vancouver to, talk to Milstein, which would obviously be very easy considering their relationship. But I bet I would have to say Zadorov, Tanev, like probably Eastern teams, right? It just doesn't make sense for the Canucks to pay that much for UFAs.
Also, Calgary has picked up a little bit of steam recently, and you look at it, they're still only 4 points out of a playoff spot with 2 games in hand. Now, obviously, there are teams between them, but if you're the Flames, they're still not quite out of it. It's if you're Craig Conroy and you're in wait and see mode, you've got these massive franchise decisions of what you're going to do. You may as well take your time, especially since you've got a new coach, a lot of changes.
And you're a first-year GM.
Exactly. So there's no rush for them to make franchise-altering moves because Zadorov and Tanev would be the first dominoes to fall in terms of, okay, we're choosing to be sellers and we're rebuilding. This is a massive decision the Flames are making. It's not just we're punting on the season. It's whatever decisions they make with their pending UFAs, especially because it extends to bigger fish like Lindholm and Hanifin, it's going to affect the direction of the franchise for the next 5 years. So even from Calgary's perspective, they're probably in no rush to make a deal now.
Okay, we're going to close out anyone else before I get to my non-hockey one that I've been stewing on it all day. This one from Aiden Hammond. It's great to have the creativity that Kuzmenko has, but he also needs to not jeopardize the team structure. Tough thing to balance, but guy also makes $5 million. So figure it out. And I'm curious if he gets in tomorrow night. Like, I don't know how long this is going to last. I'm really interested to see what the Canucks lineup looks like tonight. And oh boy, are we going to have a show on Monday when we talk about everything that's happened this weekend. Before we close out the show with our Betway bet of the day, though, I just want to say, anyone else feel like Black Friday sucks now? When did Black Friday start becoming like 20% off, 30% off? Like, I'm stunned by how bad these deals are. Even Lego.com, which is one that's obviously near and dear to my heart. The deals all suck, and Lego never goes on sale, so maybe that's a bad example, but the deals just, like, I have not had the urge to assault anybody over any of these deals.
Can I say one thing about Black Friday?
Yeah, go for it.
So the night before Thanksgiving, we all sit around, well, not we, but in America, people are thankful for this. They have a nice big dinner. The next day, everyone runs to the store and tramples all over each other, like grab items out of each other's hands in possession, and just be like flat out rude and awful. Like not even 24 hours later.
The day to be thankful was yesterday, Grady.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's short memory turnaround, right? Like,
well, I'm just saying that's not happening anymore. And rightfully so. I just said, Harman, have you had the urge to trample anybody for a TV in the last 5 years?
No.
Exactly. But no. That's it. That's all you have to say.
But maybe you're just not shopping in the right place, squads. Today, I picked up a nice denim jacket, which is originally priced at $150 for I think $62.
Okay, but not $22. It's not 80% off, Harman. Like, that's my point.
Expecting
80% off. Those were the deals back in the day, man. I know if I can remember it, you can remember it too. I bought a TV when I was 17 years old. It was an $800 TV. I got it for $220. Where are those deals?
I mean, anything.
Economy has changed, my friend.
Whatever,
We're
Grady.
living in tough times.
Last year, I picked up Adidas Stan Smiths for like 40% off, which is still a pretty good deal considering those otherwise don't go on sale often.
That's fair. I don't know. It's just like, you could get those deals at other times of the year, though. That's my point. Is just Black Friday used to be, you know.
I kind of get what you mean. I did browse Amazon this morning, and I was like, okay, I don't need to buy anything, but if there's something crazy,
yeah,
I'll consider it. And there was nothing on Amazon.
It's just a marketing ploy to get the masses, in an uproar. Oh, we got to buy this, this, and that before Christmas.
Yeah.
Which to some degree makes sense. Like if you get ahead of the Christmas shopping, which I never do, I'm always like a December 21st, 2nd type of shopper, last minute. So what? Then yeah, you can probably find some decent deals, right?
It's just so upsetting. Like, it's so upsetting. And people in the chat here are pointing it out. I like how much interaction we're getting on this. People are really fired up about the Black Friday conversation.
Yeah, online shopping has changed, but you do see some online.
Yeah, Karan said the wars are online. Marcus Toe said Black Friday was for companies to get rid of stock. Now it just feels like they're just trying to make money. Which, I mean, I guess they were before too, but I don't know. It feels so different, and it's a turn for the worst. And I know, look, trampling people, assault isn't good, okay? Like, I feel like I have to say that based on the jokes I've been making. Well, I've been making jokes about it.
Sounds like you stole a couple of PS3s back in the day.
No, not stole. Not stole. I bought them fair and square.
Stole it out of people's possession inside the store.
I've thrown a right hook in my... I'm just kidding. It sucks. It sucks. And you know what? Here's the thing. I brought up the TV that I bought in 2017 when I was 17 years old. I didn't have to fight anybody for that. They had the stock. I went early in the morning, and look, Black Friday's always been, there's never been the trampling and all that sort of stuff in Canada. We've never really had that, I don't think.
No.
Definitely not in my lifetime.
To each other.
Yeah, we've never had that. Now, of course, that's outrageous, but just in terms of the deals themselves, they suck now.
I remember one time I went to EB Games camping out midnight to get a new Call of Duty. It was like a lineup around the block. That's
a great point, Grady, because I was looking at GameStop's deals. All the EA games are on sale, but that's because the vendor put them on sales. They're on sale. It's from GameStop, Walmart, the PlayStation Store, which you don't even have to get off your rear to order that, and it's on your console in like 20 minutes. All the same deal. What? I don't know. Anyways.
When's the Black Friday sale for a right shot defenseman?
Oh.
Today, Mike Riley on waivers. We didn't even talk about that.
He's not right shot. Left. He shoots left.
Oh, yes. Mike Riley on waivers, though. $1 million. Obviously an upgrade.
He's a serviceable, like, offensive first type of guy.
Also, isn't it better that he's left shot now when the Canucks are starting 4 right-handed defensemen in their lineup, like, every night now? Like, in all seriousness, Mike Riley would be an upgrade on what they have right now, right?
He would, definitely. You just have to be mindful of... And I probably should have done this before the show, but the cap side of it, because he's got a $1 million cap hit, which is, of course, above league minimum. And especially if you have plans of signing Ethan Bear down the road as well, how does that fit in? That's the only concern I would have, because, yes, from a pure hockey standpoint, this is a player who only a couple of years ago was playing second pair minutes for the Bruins.
I hate computers. That's my take right now. The YouTube live chat is pointing it out that I'm very mad at technology.
You get salty all the time.
Well, you know what? The vibes. I'm a vibes guy. You know that, right? Like you've learned that in our 2 weeks working full time together. This is 3 now. This is our 3rd week, right? Yeah, 3rd week. Also, we can tell people last Friday we went for lunch or dinner, whatever, after the show. And I was like, dude, great first week working together. And you go, this is the 2nd week. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. It's all been a blur. It's been a blur. But it's been good. It's been good working with you. As we close out the 3rd week here. Okay, let's pull up our Betway bet of the day. I went big brain here, Grady. This is a big vibes bet again, but is anybody surprised? Also, how are the Jets doing? How are my Jets doing against the Dolphins? 27-13 Miami. Okay. So let's get to our Betway bet of the day for today. Our Betway bet of the day brought to you by our pals over at Betway. Filip Hronek over 1.5 total shots tonight against the Kraken. Minus 200 odds. A $10 bet returns you $15 over on Betway. Must be 19 plus to play. If you choose to play, please play responsibly. Big vibes guy over here. He's on power play too. Come on.
Power play 1.
Power play 1. That's what I meant. He's going to be shooting. He's going to be a shooting threat on that power play. To get 2 shots, that's why I said 2. To get 2 shots tonight, come on. 2 or more feels like a lock.
Good pick, good Riz.
Yeah, excellent Riz, I must say. Okay, score predictions.
I might have
tonight.
to ban that word. From
Censor it on the podcast.
The amount we're allowed to use it.
Score predictions for tonight. We'll start with you, Harman.
I don't make score predictions.
Oh, come on.
I don't have no. Unless I actually feel the vibe, I'm not just gonna make a score prediction and make myself look dumb.
4-3 Vancouver.
Okay.
Grady, do you want to give us one?
4-1 Vancouver, because Joey Decord's in net and he is not NHL quality.
I like it. Joe okay, as it translates to. Did either of you take French immersion in high school?
Nope.
Not immersion.
We're really wait. What do you mean? What is that supposed to mean?
Well, I just took regular French class.
Oh, okay. You
and then I went into
confused me there.
Spanish.
I thought, yeah, okay. Anyways, we're missing that element on the show. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Faber spoke fluent French, and it was always very funny when we would have the French moment. So one of us has to learn French, not it.
You're out to lunch if you think I'm gonna spend 5 seconds learning French.
Oh, what a Friday afternoon this has been, folks. Okay, so Seattle tonight, San Jose tomorrow. We'll be back on Monday to break it all.
What's our score prediction for Saturday night's game?
6-1 Vancouver.
Oh,
Sam Lafferty hat trick.
Wow.
Wow, that's bold.
We'll close it out there. For my co-host, Harman Dial, and our technical producer, Grady Sass, my name is David Quadrelli. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Canucks Conversation. Canucks Conversation with Harman and Quads every weekday at 2 p.m. Be sure to check it out on the Canucks Army YouTube channel. And if you missed it, go check it out on your favorite podcast catcher app.